interesting trivia on Godzilla suits. The Mecha Godzilla suit, that the imposter Godzilla suit, as some people call it, was
Hmm.
actually a promo suit that was used for public events that had no intentions of being in a movie. But because the production did not have the money to make a second Godzilla suit, they wound up just using it in the movie.
That's really smart.
And that movie, apparently, that Godzilla had no mobility at all in its face. So, like, it couldn't roar, like, it couldn't open its
Yeah.
mouth or anything. So that's why
Yeah. Yeah. That's
it's rather
yeah.
stiff there. And so
Yeah.
on and so forth. But I found that really fascinating that it had no intentions
Yeah.
of being
That's
in a movie, and they kind of
it
had to
made it
use it.
in. Yeah. That's really cool. Actually, I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
it's a lot of interesting stuff like that, like how in the original Godzilla, and I'll kind of say this about now because one of the topics was Godzilla suits only because I'm obsessed with them
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now. The
Yeah.
original Godzilla, the first suit, the prototype suit, as I like to call it, was so
Mhm.
fucking heavy that when the actor was in the suit, he couldn't move at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
And
reading
he
about that a
just
long time ago.
collapsed because it was so heavy and him trying to move it. And so they made the main suit after that, which was the one that's predominantly used in the movie. However,
Yeah.
the second suit, um, that first suit, they didn't want to waste it. And
Hmm.
so what they did was they chopped it in half. And what they did was they hooked a pair of suspenders to the lower half. So that way, Haruo Nakajima, or whoever the suit actor would have been, because there was a few of them in the original Godzilla, Haruo Nakajima did most of it.
Hmm.
Um, but so scenes where it's just like a close up on his feet or just the lower portions of Godzilla bodies. Any shot that you really see of that is that first suit cut in half with suspenders. And there is also rumor. See, this is unconfirmed, and this is partially why I love
Yeah.
the
Okay.
original, is because we just don't quite know anymore. I always thought that when Godzilla was coming out of the water, what they did was make a that was the top half of that first Godzilla suit.
Yeah. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
And I know for a fact that you see the first Godzilla suit once in the movie, and the upper half once in one shot for a fact in the movie. And it's when, towards the end of the movie, when Dr. Zarazawa is about to let go of the oxygen destroyer, and you see Godzilla put a hand on a cliff and kind of peer over it. That was the first
Yeah.
Godzilla suit, the upper half of that body.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
However, apparently there is an undocumented third suit out there that was exclusively used for water sequences. And
Okay.
there's no photographs of it, which is why it's kind of dubious whether or not that's true or not. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
fucking research on there, and I'll even pop up the fucking article or the images that I found of it because I've been doing a lot of random research on this. Stay tuned for why, ladies and gentlemen. Um, but there were a bunch of these Japanese guys that were really obsessed with this, kind of like I was, and they started doing a lot
Hmm.
of research into it, and they came to the conclusion that there is indeed a third suit. And here we are. Here's the first suit. Let me pull her up. That is the first suit
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
chopped in half with suspenders. I love that so fucking much. Uh, but let me see. Yeah, here we are. Yeah, here's where apparently there is a third suit. They mapped out the spines on each one and how they're different.
Oh.
It's kind of like King Kong in the original King Kong, how his face changes a few
Yeah.
times, and
Yeah.
that's because it's not like they had a machine to be like, here, build me a King Kong. They had to hand make it every time. Same with this. But yeah, here's the upper half of what I believe to be the second suit used in the movie. I mean, sorry, the first suit used in the
Yeah. Yeah.
movie, and that's the upper half. That's the water suit.
Okay.
And I can't confirm whether or not that is the same suit as this for a fact. And again, unfortunately, I can't read any of the Japanese, unfortunately. Um,
Yeah.
but it's interesting because there might be an undocumented Godzilla suit out
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
and that I find utterly fascinating. Sorry.
That's actually legit really
It
freaking
is
cool.
cool.
Like,
It is
yeah.
cool. It's kind of like me stumbling across all of those photos from the test footage from King Kong 33, because they
Yeah.
did a bunch of test footage, and you see like Kong
Hmm.
battling the Stegosaurus and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And I'm like, that doesn't happen in a movie, but oh, it was test footage. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Same kind of deal with this, but again, it could be wrong. There might actually not be a third suit out there. I don't know.
Hmm.
I mean, it'd be long
Yeah.
gone now, but we know for a fact there was at least two. But I have one more thing to show, and this will
Sure.
fascinate you to no end because it fascinated me. This here is from
Okay.
a movie that was never made. This Godzilla suit. Yes.
Really?
The Volcano Monsters was going to be a movie made. The people who made Reptilicus were working on it in 1959.
Nice.
1959. And so some backstory with the Volcano Monsters, and again, this is very oversimplified. They saw Godzilla raids again, and this is before they bastardized into Gigantus the Fire Monster. Different people. They saw
Yeah. Yeah.
Godzilla raids again, said we can basically Godzilla King of the Monsters eyes it and make it where Godzilla and Anguirus
Yeah.
are Tyrannosaurus and an Ankylosaurus fighting in San Francisco.
Okay.
Cannibalize the footage, completely shoot new casts and everything like that. And it fell through because the company went under.
Yeah.
But it was so into production that Toho made two new suits to be shipped over to the United States because they could
Really?
reuse a lot of stock footage from Godzilla Raids Again, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that they had to cut out. This
Yeah.
is said
Yeah.
suit. There's actually two suits that you can see here. This is a better image.
Yeah.
This is a Godzilla
Yeah.
suit that was going to be used, and that was the Anguirus
Anger's.
suit
Yeah.
that you can see.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
it's interesting because this suit and that suit look different than the Raids Again suit. This here is the original Raids Again suit. A little derpy, I know, but um, for some reason, Godzilla Raids Again had a shit ton of BTS photos. But here's actually a good design, a good shot of what the 55 suit looked like from the original Godzilla Raids
Yeah.
Again. Okay?
Yeah.
And compare that to that, and you'll see that there's difference. It says
Yeah. That's a
bulkier,
completely
different. And what's interesting,
facial structure
yeah,
too.
what's
Like,
interesting is the ears are missing. The toes went from 4 toes to 3. The spikes
Yeah.
started becoming far more like maple leaves, I've heard them described as. And the claws got
Yeah.
bigger. And suddenly I realized,
Yeah.
oh my god, this is a precursor to the 60s Godzilla suits.
Oh yeah.
This totally influenced the 62 Godzilla design.
Yeah. Even like the texture of like the body alone is like
Yes.
that's what I see
Yes.
there. I see is like
This,
that.
yeah, this looks like 60s Godzilla. This is definitely a prototype to it. And it got bulky. However, what we don't know, and this is what drives me fucking crazy. What we don't know is that Toho did ship these suits to the United States. However, it looks like they got lost in shipment.
Really.
Now, what's crazy is that apparently they got lost, and so what they did was they dug out the original suits used in 1955 for Godzilla Raids Again, and then sent those over to the United States. And we know that they arrived there because Bob Burns, everyone's favorite classic horror movie collector guy, Bob Burns was working on a movie, and he accidentally stumbled across the suits.
Really?
And he said they were, Godzilla in particular was a reddish brown, not gray. He was reddish brown. And you could see the holes where they shot missiles at him, where it burned through the suit. And he also found Anguirus.
Does he still have
No,
them?
no, he couldn't keep them. These are
Okay.
just stories,
Oh,
and
damn.
no one knows what happened to those suits. No one knows what happened to either the suits that I just showed you that were custom made for Volcano Monsters, or the 55 suits. So that, to me, is fascinating as fuck.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100. That's like in the same vein of like the Pokemon Live thing I was telling you about. It's like They what the fuck happened? Where did they
I know
go?
the 91 Godzilla suit, the one from Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, got stolen, which is why they had to make a different Godzilla suit for the next
Yeah,
movie, and they found the 91 Godzilla suit in a river. Yeah,
really.
something like that. I don't really know the
He
story
went
too
back
much, though,
home.
but
He went back home.
somehow he got back home. But
Yeah.
and they did use him in the movie. They
Yeah,
used him a couple times in the movie. So,
I thought of someone just stealing one of those suits. It's kind of impressive. I won't lie,
oh yeah,
because like they're huge. They're
they're
big
huge. They
suits.
weigh a ton. I
Yeah,
think the lightest suit made, official suit made,
yeah.
according to Haruo Nakajima, was because apparently no, I don't know if it was the lightest suit was 85 pounds, which is
Mhm.
extremely light considering the fact that the first one was 200.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so so there. I know too much about this. I think I've said this multiple times.